Hey, this is the World Advice Channel too. What I want to talk about today is a topic of why conservatism will not save the black community. So, when it comes to the reason why conservatism will not save the black community, specifically referring to black people in North America, like Canada, and of course America for that matter, the reason why it is not going to save us, is simply down to the fact that aside from white interference to a certain extent, most of our problems is simply actually our own community's fault. And let me explain why, okay? And the reason why I say that, of course, as I said, I'm going to explain, is due to the fact that the black community, when it comes to having business smarts, is horrible, okay? And I'm going to explain in full detail why it's terrible, as well as how that relates to the topic I'm discussing, okay? So let me get started. Okay, so the reason why the black community's business smarts is so terrible is simply down to the fact that black people, I have noticed, when it comes to business, specifically like setting up your own business, whether it could be the two main types of business it can have, that there is, whether it could be, a business, you know, that you have to go to, or a business that you go to them, like a convenience store or something. The black community, when it comes to business smarts, is absolutely terrible. And there's a reason why I feel our community is so poor. And not even why I feel, I know why our community is so poor as it is, okay? Because when black people do business, they always tend to make these main mistakes, okay? Whether it's showing up late, overcharging everything, um, which is a huge one. And of course, let's not forget the infamous not being organized. Okay. They do those things all the time, and it's really stupid, and not just really stupid, it really keeps us back, okay? Because the truth of the matter is, as I'm certain we are all aware, white people historically, specifically of the older generation, do not like us, okay? And that's why when we tend to do jobs where we work for them, they don't usually, in a lot of cases, if not most cases, specifically if it's a certain age group, they don't treat us well. So as a result, that's why we have to rely on our own businesses, because through our own businesses, it makes it possible for us to actually be able to make money for our community in a fair way without, of course, having to deal with the issues that we would have if we had a white person as a boss. Okay, that's why the idea of black business is so freaking popular. Okay, that is the truth of the matter. Okay, but as a result of that fact, okay, for that matter, the problem with that is simply put it is that our business smarts, like I was getting at before, is not very good, which is the reason why a lot of people from other communities, especially most importantly of all, of course, our community, are not willing to shop at our own stores. Because you go to black stores, you know, they overcharge everything. Everything is super expensive. Or you might have a black person coming to your house to fix something, whether they could be a carpenter, or it could be maybe they're there to clean a pool or fix your car, even if anything, if they're that type of business, whatever, that type of business that has to go to the person's house, they are always showing up late. And obviously, in this world we live in, people have things to do. And if you're going to wait for someone who's going to show up 40 minutes, an hour late, and that's if you're lucky, you're going to obviously work with someone from another community of people that obviously do not show up late all the time. Now, of course, the main question, and of course, I'm certain you're probably wondering if you're watching this video, is what the hell does this have to do with politics? And it does have a lot to do with politics, because the truth of the matter is, how it relates to politics is that right there is an example of us being responsible for our own problems, collectively speaking. I know I wouldn't do it, but a lot of black people do it. And that's why I say collectively speaking, because a lot of black people do it. If anything, most black people do those three main things and other things as well, which is why black people are not willing to work for each other in their own businesses. Or I should say, work with each other in the businesses that they do, for that matter. Okay, that is the truth of the matter, to put it bluntly, in honesty. Okay, that is the honest truth, and that's why we are not willing to work with each other, like shop at our own stores and stuff like that, because Why the hell do you want to work with someone who is doing those things? For that matter, which relates to the point I'm trying to make across, if anything, is that what the hell does politics have to do with it whatsoever? Okay, that is our own community's fault. Okay, because even if you become a conservative and you go on the side of the conservative, they're going to end food stamps and this and that and all that type of shit. What the hell is that going to do for us if you're doing those things? If you have a business that's poorly planned, for that matter, and just in general offers a bad, bad, bad level of quality, which Keith Lee kind of exposed. If you're familiar with the food vlogger, that man known as, of course, well, like I said, Keith Lee, he exposed a lot of black business for not being very good, not only overcharging, but having rude customer service and just not having the best quality food. Okay, that right there is an example of what I am trying to get at here, to put it bluntly, and honesty, to put it bluntly. Okay? That's what I'm trying to get at here. What is being a conservative going to do to help you? Okay? If you're doing those type of things, then of course your business is not going to do well. Okay? Your business is not doing well because you are making poor choices. Just saying, "Oh, I'm going to support Donald Trump because he's good for black businesses," because he says, "Oh, well, you guys need to take responsibility and not blame white people for everything." What the hell is that going to do? If your business is doing the things that I mentioned, specifically showing up late to things, if you have to go somewhere. And that's exactly what I'm trying to get across here. So saying that, oh, conservatism is going to save our community and this and that and all type of shit is so friggin' stupid. It's not even funny, for that matter, okay? Because the truth of the matter is, our community needs to take accountability. We need to actually realize what we are doing is wrong, okay? And not just wrong, it's stupid, okay? And that's what we need to do, okay? For that matter, to put it bluntly, for crying out loud, okay? That's why our businesses are so terrible, because they're doing all these dumb things like showing up late to things, like maybe you might work at you know, uh, you know, at at a place, like maybe a social worker working at a community gathering and this and that, for that matter, to put it bluntly, and you hire maybe a black truckers to help bring maybe supplies in, and they show up really late and they're rude and they're overcharging you when you can hire an Asian person, you could literally get half the price and even less, for that matter, then that is obviously down to the fault of the business owner. And that's the type of shit that black businesses do. And that's why no one was willing to work with us, most importantly, ourselves, because they're doing that dumbass shit. That has nothing to do with conservatism is gonna, of course, being something that's gonna save us or this and that. That is your fault because you're doing those things. And that's the truth. What our community needs to do, it's to start taking accountability and not just blaming everything on, of course, no surprise, white people, for that matter, or, blaming the left, if anything, and that's exactly what I'm trying to get across here. And of course, in this case, pertaining specifically to this video, blaming, of course, surprise, 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 the left, for that matter, okay? And that's the truth of the matter. So that's why conservatism, or I should say black conservatism, is not the answer. It's not going to save us. It's not going to make anything better. Because if you have a bad business because you're doing bad, operations and procedures and whatever, for that matter, like I mentioned earlier, then of course your business is not going to do well. So what the hell does conservatism have anything to do with it? And saying, the liberals are this and that, and oh, Barack Obama did nothing for us and all that type of crap, have anything to do with it if your business itself is not doing what it's supposed to do in order to become successful. That's what I'm trying to get at here. And that's why when I hear that shit, I just go like, oh, here we go again. Okay? So that's the truth of the matter. So that is, in short, my video I have made, because the truth of the matter is, with the message I got across from my video, conservatism is not going to save the black community. It is not going to save us, for that matter. And I hope for the people who watch this video, you found informative, and not just found informative, you also, of course, enjoyed watching this video. for that matter. Okay, so that is all I have to say. And just simply put it, if you like this video and videos like this, remember to thumbs this video up and hit the subscribe button. And this is all that there is to the video, and simply put them out. So bye.